want to try and put together those pieces as it goes through. Good? I know I got farther than this is, but really now. All right, so that's our population. I got 9 minutes. This is perfect. Okay. Movement. Know these terms. Okay. Cyclic versus periodic. Again, this is nothing new here. This word, transhumans, they love to ask that question. I'm not really sure why. It's like the movement of animals from one point to another in order to be able to make sure they can keep eating. But look up transhumans, make sure you understand that term. They love to ask that question. Right. These movements, the key parts of that is that we're not talking about permanency. Okay. Most of this unit, if you recall, on this topic of movement, was on migration. And migration implies permanency. So I want you guys to kind of keep that in mind as we look at this. So migration, permanency, you guys get the idea. Remember push and pull factors. I'm not going to belabor the point here. We talk about all of these components. Remember, things that are good, pull. Things that are bad, push. And remember that all of these different factors are at play. Remember, of all the places on God's green earth where you could end up, you ended up in Elk Grove. Sorry. But something pulled you here, and it hasn't been so bad it's pushed you away, which is probably also good, at least for my job. So remember that when you see a push-pull question in terms of migration, things that are positive pull, things that are negative push. Okay, remittances. Remember, remittances are money that's made and sent back to your family. Okay. Again, this is an old slide from my class. So again, it's the idea of remittances. Earn money here, send it back home. Remittances are good for the country that's receiving the money, back to the country where the money is sent from. Which is part of the reason why the people in the United States are focused so much on migration and remittance policies and whatnot, in order to be able, because all that money that leaves the United States actually is negative for the U.S. All right. Migration patterns. Here's a new slide. I would say this. Inter and intra. Write those two terms down. Inter and intra. Those are pretty common prefixes they'll put on there. We'll do it this way. We talk about intramurals versus intramurals. What's the difference? I don't know, Mr. Shepard. You've been talking the whole time. Keep talking. I'm going to do that. Intramurals are competitions that occur within a school. Okay? So if you want to be part of the intramural team, then you're going to play soccer against other people from Elk Grove High School. Intermurals are between areas, in this case between schools. So when we talk about intercontinental, we're talking about what? Between continents. Okay? If we're talking about intracontinental, we're talking about within the continent. Within the continent. Okay? So inter connects multiple parts, intra is within the one part. Okay? Good way to keep that in mind. So intercontinental, international, interregional, world urban. We know Ravenstein's laws of migration. Write it down, know it. Okay? Ravenstein's laws of migration. We know that most migration occurs from rural areas to the city. That should make sense from industrialization. And heck, I hammer that point home so much in class. If you don't know that by now, I feel bad for you. Okay? Machines replace your job, or you are out of work, or you're a subsistent farmer, you want to make more money, you no longer have a job, transition to industrialization, you leave the farm, you end up in the city. Okay? Ravenstein's laws of migration acknowledge that among 4 other principles. Okay? I would say, chief, among them, you tend to migrate closer than farther. Okay? I hate Elk Grove. I really want to go to Florida. Most likely, I'll live in Schaumburg. Okay? That's Ravenstein's laws of migration. Okay? I want to go far away, but there's reasons why I might get sucked up somewhere else along the way.
What's that called when you're supposed to move someone that you stop?
Intervening opportunity. Yeah. Something intervenes is the reason why you might stay that way. You run out of money, or there's a better opportunity that came up that caused you to stay there. Good point. Okay, remember forced versus voluntary migration. All right, reasons why you might be motivated to leave. Distance decay model. Okay, and I'm going to get to on my gravity model next, which is where I at least wanted to end up. Distance decay model, remember this whole idea. The farther away it is, the less interaction that occurs. The closer something is, the more interaction that's going to occur. So again, you're going to migrate closer to home. Okay, you're less likely to migrate farther away. Distance decay model. Notice that distance decay oftentimes relates to voluntary migration, not forced to leave. And then our gravity model. Okay, you guys are really good at science, right? You can definitely use this from a scientific perspective. Which is the cool part about geography. I told you that before if you were in a review session. You can look at it from different angles. So much like Newton's laws of gravity, so to use this here, gravity pulls, right? That's the idea. Larger objects pull smaller objects. Okay, that's kind of it's the reason why I'm not pulling the Earth to me. The Earth's pulling me to it. Right? You guys get the idea? Yeah, isn't that cool? I mean, the world does revolve around me, but that's a whole other story. Okay. So here's the idea of the gravity model. The concept behind it is the prediction of movement between people and goods and places. Where are the people going to go? Where are the goods going to go? That's the idea behind it. Here, if nothing else from this slide you remember, this then becomes the key part. The gravity model says that larger places attract from smaller places, or are more likely to attract from smaller places. You're more likely to go to Chicago than Red Bud, Illinois, although they just had a Mega Millions winner, and if you want to go find someone that has millions of dollars, go there. Okay? But you're more likely to go to a population of 10 million than you are 400, or 4,000 in that case. Also, you're more likely to go closer than farther. So if I want to go to a major city and I didn't want to go to Chicago, I could go to Milwaukee. No, never go to Milwaukee. All right, go south. Okay. Anywhere but Milwaukee. That's a bad joke, don't worry. So, the idea, though, is that you're more likely to go to someplace closer than farther. Here's the map for those of you guys that are math whizzes. Ooh, I want a map. There's actually a formula. The population of one place times the population of the second place divided by the distance between the two places squared. I don't know how the heck they came up with that. I don't really know what the rationale is. But here's the idea. The larger that number, the more of a connection that there is. And then you could divide it all down and you could make it into some sort of common number. And then you could have like a 2.5 times as effective. But here's what's kind of cool. Is based upon that bond, you can actually predict the amount of traffic that might travel between those two places, whether it's air traffic or car traffic, the amount of mail or phone calls that could come. So you could plan ahead and you could produce a number of phone lines or modems or whatever else it might take to interact between the two places. That you could set up deals and whatnot in order to make sure the two places are more and more connected. You never see advertisements for Las Vegas in like small town America, right? Because there's not much connection there. But they do advertise like all the time around here. Okay, that's the idea. They figure out where to place those advertisements based upon this. So, this bond between Los Angeles and New York, by the way, that number is actually super high. Super, super high. Okay, the bond that would exist between Elk Grove Village and Itasca would be much, much, much smaller than that. Even though they're a lot closer, their population size are so much smaller, there's not much of a connection. Okay, again, you guys get the idea. Gravity, how strong is the pull? 420. Not bad. I made it. Okay. There is other stuff that I have on there. It's a lot of terms that I went through. I think we're trying to assemble it. We'll put it in the handout folder if you want to see it. But thank you guys. Hopefully this is all like, yeah, I know this. But if not,